good to start. Everybody else, we're not here. You don't see us.
Good to go.
Let him hear you. Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. The last weekend before we change our clocks back, I'm reminding you of that now because I will forget by the end of the service. I've been enjoying just watching the sunset at the hour that I'm accustomed to, and I know that in another day it's going to be a lot darker, a lot earlier. But that means we have more opportunity to celebrate Shabbat together. Please join us on page 128 as we give thanks for the gift of community with the words of Hyde. As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. So let's indeed turn now to the kindling of the Shabbat lights. Delighted to call on Stan and Irene Zorn to come out in that honor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel
Turn the page, page 122, as we read these words from last week's Torah portion, before we go.
The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Take up the cup. We'll sing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim melech haolam, borei harim ha'afel. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'Shabbat u'Sho.
Thank you, and good Shabbat.
Thank you,
Good and
Rabbi.
sweet Shabbat. All of you. Let's continue to feel Shabbat's presence here among us. We turn to page 138, for the hymn known as L'Chavodi, and the last verse in which we welcome Shabbat as an honored guest. First one.
Thank you.
Shabbat officially here amongst us. Let's take a moment to breathe. And when that Shabbat presence has brought a smile to your face, turn to someone in your midst or someone you haven't seen in a while or yet. And wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Remain standing as we turn to page 146. We call ourselves to worship as one community with the Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la. I know that this week we read the story of Noah, Parshat Noah, and of course we all know famously that Noah is commanded to take 2 of each kind of animal and to bring them into the ark. One of the things that is striking me this year is what it must have taken to take on that task, not only to build the ark, but to look carefully at each type of animal and notice which ones were different. And what it took to find 2 of each kind meant noticing that the newt was different from the salamander, was different from the lizard. And so I think Noah must have had a tremendous appreciation for all of the variety and also the beauty of God's creation. Let's feel ourselves similarly blessed as we read page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'dvaro ma'arim v'aravim, v'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, v'tbuna meshaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, v'mishmeroteim barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, kolel or b'nei choshen, v'choshen b'nei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, Umabdil ben yom u'mei layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, Talmid yimloch aleinu le'olam v'ahed, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv v'aravim. 50, you can follow the English.
ונתתם לבניך, ודיברת עליהם, בשבתך בביתך, ולכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem. Bottom of page 157. Let's read responsibly. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory, the earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Eternal One, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, Borei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. 160.
Yes.
invited to pray as if everything depended on God. We are invited to act as if everything depended on us. Let's turn to these prayers that hopefully can solidify our action. Page 164, I invite you to rise to Tikvah. Be seated. Let's read the top of page 173. Let's join together in this prayer for Shabbat. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill his promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Shabbat. There's a you Holy One who makes these moments of Shabbat sacred to us. Page 176 is where you can find our prayer of gratitude, of thanksgiving, as we turned the Gregorian calendar today to the month of November. Maybe you are making plans already for your Thanksgiving. I'm awaiting the birth of a third grandchild, so it should be a wonderful Thanksgiving, God willing. But we all, of course, have the opportunity to give thanks at every moment and every day. And so maybe not a big deal of something that you're giving thanks for tonight, but maybe something little. The ability to be here together, a beautiful new melody, the chance to sit with friends and family, maybe something else, I don't know. And just take a moment and feel yourself grateful for any one of those reasons. And let's join together in these words in English. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you, praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Holy One, your name is goodness. You are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lecha na'el le'odot. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. Ki atah Melech Adon, Melech Shalom. Ki atah Melech Adon, Melech Shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. V'tov Melecha Le'orev, V'tov Yisrael. V'cholet V'chol Shalom, Yishmorecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. Hasim Le'olam. Hasim Le'olam. We indeed pray for our Shalom Rav, a great, abundant peace all around the globe, in our homes and in our hearts. I invite you to take the next few moments for your own personal prayer as we pray in silence. moment to think about those whom we know in our community and elsewhere who are ailing this evening. We're in need of our prayers for healing. Tonight we offer up this Misha Barach prayer of healing for Jamie Liebman-Abish, Eileen Andacht, Lynn Bassett, Benjamin Menachem Frank, Carolyn Barami, Jane Bernstein, Arnold Block, Dennis Brenner, Jack Kazis, Laura Correa, Toby Domash, Susan Zitzik, Janet Ewing, Kelly Fink, Arthur Fisher, Judy Fisher, Michelle Fisk, Evan Foster, Barbara Goldberg, Sandra Goldberg, Florence Goldring, Stephen Goldstein, Jean Gormley, Elise Grace, Lee Hawley, Marilyn Heckler, Enid Hirsch, Eldon Hung, Matthew A. Hood, Dacia Horowitz, Phyllis Horn, Stephen Israel, Toby Israel, Christine Jacobson, Danette Jamal, Roberta Kahn, Louis Kaufman, Tatiana Kotunya, Esther Krachevsky, Sandy Lay, Gail Levy, Paul Lipson, Aiden Moletsky, Robert Mandel, Robert Mannix, Barbara Massey, Susan Miller, Ashley Moranti, Adam Moranti, Miriam Shulamit, Batbela, Patrice Newman, Nora Tzipora, Batilana, Andrew O'Donnell, Sophia Palladino, Esther Parker, Gerlinda Pescatore, Helga Pfeffer, Ben Filch, Rabbi Lester Polonsky, Dean Powell, Carol Ryder, Julie Rosenberg, Laura Rosenspan, Renee Rosenthal, Jeannie Rudick, Sylvie Rubel, Adele Schoner, Hannah Rachel Bat Miriam, Charlotte Miriam Schnapp, Claire Shapiro, Jeffrey Schoenholtz, Marjorie Schoenholtz, Edmund Steiner, A. Strobel, Rhoda Strobel, Tova Bat Shifra, Arlene Iris Wisson, Jeff Young, and Shirley Young. If there are others whom you know who could use our prayer for healing, and you'd like to share their names with us, please feel free to do so now. Stan.
Eleanor Rothenberg,
Thank you. There's on the side.
Leonard Alex Silva,
Thank you, Tiffany. Barbara.
Joyce, Gail, Karen, and Sheila.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Stuart.
Sonny Berger and Steve Schwartz.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody? Danielle.
Steve Marty, Maddie, Prince, Rob Prince.
Holy One of Blessed be with all of those people whose names we've shared out loud, as well as those people we're holding in our hearts. Bring all of them to refuah, to healing, of body, of mind, of spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. Praise to you, Eternal One, the source from whence healing flows. You can join us if you'd like on page 371 in this prayer. Well, with today being the 1st of November, could Election Day be far behind? You probably didn't need to be reminded of that. Chances are you, like me, are being bombarded with messages from the media anytime you turn on the radio or the television, or if you're like me, my phone is abuzz with text messages nonstop and emails inviting me to donate, to make calls, and for sure to vote. Some of us are quite ready for this season to be over, right? There's been so much happening, right? But we may also be feeling a little bit of unease about it, maybe even some stress. I don't know about you, but I've eaten a lot more than my share of the Halloween candy that we have left over in our house thinking about it. Some of us are worried about who's going to win, and many of us are worried not only about that, but what things are going to look like as the election results come in. What's going to happen, who's going to determine who wins, and how's it going to get decided. The country is just so divided right now. Wouldn't it be better if we were all united? Couldn't we just get along? Well, friends, we just finished reading the story of creation last week in our Torah portion. And after all, creation is supposed to be a good thing. We are partners with God in creating the world. But creation can also be problematic, as this week's portion shows. Now, I'm not talking about the story of Noah and the flood. If you want to study that, please do join us tomorrow morning, 9:15, with bagels here in the Harris Beaver Auditorium or via Zoom. I'm talking about the story that ends this week's Torah portion. Because there's some unity. Everyone on earth, it says, had the same language and the same words. Wow. From the perspective of our divided nation, this sounds ideal, right? It sounds like Eden. But it isn't. If we read on a little further, we see that everyone on earth had the same language and the same words, and what did they do? They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and burn them hard. Let's have the bricks serve as stone and then the bitumen as mortar. And then let's take all of that and let us build a city and a tower with its top in the heavens to make a name for ourselves, else we shall be scattered all over the world." This, my friends, is the story of the Tower of Babel. And as you know, it doesn't end so well, right? But I ask you, on the face of it, what's wrong with this project? After all, these are people who are working together, much like our people will work together centuries later in our story to build the holy Mishkan, the temple, and the portable temple, right? So what is wrong with this joint communal project? Well, first let me tell you, we know there's something wrong with it because God doesn't like it. And God says the following, and I'm quoting the English translation now. God says, if, as one people, with one language for all, this is how they have begun to act, then nothing that they may propose to do will be out of their reach. Let us then go down and confound their speech there, so that they shall not understand one another's speech. And that's exactly what God does. God scatters the people all over the earth, and God changes their speech so that they're no longer united. So we know God doesn't like this project, and we know that somehow the unity that is expressed in the Tower of Babel construction project isn't pleasing to God. So why not? What's wrong with unity, and what's the problem here? You can read a whole lot of commentary with a whole lot of different answers to that question. I'm going to highlight just a very few. One thing that our scholars say is wrong is their motivation, right? Because if I turn back to those verses again, they say, "Come, let us build a city and a tower to make a name for ourselves." That's what they seem to want to do. They want to be more important than they are. They want to amass power, right? The tower that they build represents their attempts to equal or maybe even displace God. They're going to build it all the way up as high as God's throne, up to the heavens. Right? It's a kind of arrogance. It's a unity, but it's not a unity based on any ideals. It's a unity based on that sense of arrogance and power for the sake of power. So that's one complaint about this project. Here's another. Yes, they all speak the same language, but not in quite the right way. So let me quote for you again that beginning verse. It says, everyone on earth had the same language and the same words. The Hebrew reads, Vayihi chol haaretz safa achat, that's one language, u'devarim achadim, and words that are translated often as the same words, but that word achadim can also mean just a few. So not only that they had the same language, but they only had a few words that they could speak in common. So our commentators, and here I'll cite Ibn Ezra as one of the authorities, said that that was the problem. They didn't have a whole lot of nuance to their speech. They had a couple of words that they could share, but those words oversimplified everything. They tried to get everyone on their side with slogans, catchphrases, rather than real discussion and real debate. Right? The fact that they had few words meant that they would talk to each other in shorthand, and the other person would have to just nod in agreement. There was no way to have a real conversation or to learn from difference. So that's a second problem with this project. And related to that, I will tell you, just quote briefly, Sforno, who says that that attempt to use language also went into the fact that they tried to homogenize everyone and make everyone the same. He speaks specifically of religion. He says the real crime of the builders was that they tried to make everybody follow the same religion. And God didn't want that. God prevented it so that God could keep alive variety. Not to have those varieties war with each other, but so that each person, each religion could celebrate their piece of the picture, and eventually the whole world would come to recognize the one God through that diversity. That's a comment from Sforno. That is, Sforno is not a 20th or 21st century commentator, so you should know that idea is old in our tradition. We are not all the same from either of those commentators. We should not try to erase our differences. And I'll offer you just one more illustration, and then explain why I'm telling you all this. These are words from a Hasidic commentator of the 19th century. Meir HaShiloach is his name. And he too comments on that verse. The whole earth had one language and one speech. And if you remember when I quoted for you that one language, Kol Haaretz Safa Achad, one Safa, one language. That is indeed the word for language, but it's not the only word for language in Hebrew. Another word you may know is Lashon, right? As in Lashon Hara, evil tongue, evil speech, but also Lashon as in Lashon Kodesh, the holy language, which is Hebrew. Right? So, Meir HaShiloach asks, why did the Torah use the word Safa here for language rather than Lashon? And he answers, this is because at its deepest sense, Lashon refers to Lashon Kodesh, holy speech. And holy speech is that which is impressed deeply in the heart and that flows from the root of all life. All the rest of the language that we talk all day, we try we can jabber away, we can talk to each other, but if our speech is not connected to that root of life, then that language is kind of irrelevant. So in other words, I think Meir HaShiloach is saying, yes, the people were unified by speaking a kind of jargon that they were able to understand each other with, but they weren't sharing their hearts. They weren't sharing the values that they really cared about. They were all united with one point of view, but they weren't really seeking to understand, seeking to explain their values, and seeking to glorify God. So back to us, here in November, just a few days away from the election. We do, of course, call ourselves the United States of America. And sometimes we feel a little more united than others. But if you remember the Latin phrase that goes with that name, United States of America, it is e pluribus unum, which means out of a multitude, one. That, I think, is the lesson of the Tower of Babel and the lesson that we need to keep in mind in this election season, which is this: I long for unity. I long for us to have a more peaceful nation, but I don't long for the kind of unity that they have for the Tower of Babel. I want us to be a nation where we can have diversity, different ways of speaking, different tongues, different types of different ways of looking at the world, and looking at conversation not to have power over someone, but to be equal with, and out of that diversity, create some unity. So Tuesday's going to come and go, and we may not know the results on Tuesday. It may take longer. At some point, there will be somebody declared President of the United States and all the other offices. And whatever way that election goes, it is my hope and my prayer that we continue to search for a true unity, and do so by being different, by learning from each other, by respecting those differences, seeking ways to build bridges, but also holding on to our value and speaking speech that connects to what we call holy. If we do that, then maybe we will be able to build a construction project that is worthy of God's blessing. Can you hear it, sir? May it be so.
Amen.
So I'm sure some of you have voted already, and maybe others if you haven't. So I'm going to offer this prayer. It's written by a colleague, Rabbi Seth Goldstein. This is a prayer for voting. And if anybody wants a copy to take with you into the polling booth, I invite you to ask me, and I will definitely get it to you. Ribono shel olam, sovereign of all space and time, you formed us to be your partner in creation. You've commanded us to pursue justice, love our neighbor, welcome the stranger, tend the earth, make peace, and repair the world. To do so, you've taught us to form communities and appoint leaders. And as we learn in our Torah, after the majority, one must bend. It is through our voting that we put faith into action and vision into reality. May our ballots, which carry our highest dreams, be blessed. May we, by fulfilling our rights and responsibilities, be blessed. And may our nation, through our collective voice, be blessed. May we join together to create a future of compassion, kindness, fairness, inclusivity, and love. A future without fear and want, violence and oppression. A future in which we recognize that we are all created b'Tselem Elohim, in God's image. And a future that does honor to our ancestors and provides hope for our descendants. Baruch Shenatan Michvodo V'Basar V'Dam. Blessed is the one whose glory we can make manifest in humanity and in its leaders. Let us all say, Amen. Thank you. Let's turn back in our prayer books now. We turn to page 586 for that vision of a world where all are one. You pluribus unum. Alleluia. Please rise as we open the door. Seated. (595). The words of the poet Marcellus. There are stars up above so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember. Our thoughts turn now to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, those of every race and every nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. Let us remember them and give thanks for all of the gifts that they gave us and the love they leave us. We first remember those most recently gone from our midst in this period of Shabbat and Shloshim, the first days of mourning. We recall Michael Constan, remembered by Lawrence and Gloria Constan and Carolyn Constan. Terry Goldstein, remembered by Larry and Brenna and Alana Goldstein families. Remember Carla Osuna, remembered by her daughter Ellen Osuna and family. We remember Lois Robbins, remembered by Lori Robbins and her family. And this week as well, we turn our thoughts to remember those who died at this season in years gone by. With love, we now recall Ann Ader, mother of Susan Gelfand, Faye Alper, mother of Cheryl Cohen, Ruth Amram, mother of Richard Amram, Norman Arano, friend of Monique Stern, blessed memory, Milton Arkin, father-in-law of Ann Arkin, grandfather of Michael Arkin, Harris Bieber, father of Jay Bieber, Pauline and Nathan Feinblatt, the in-laws of Alan B. Fogelman, Samuel Goldberg, the father of Stephen Goldberg, Abraham and Ray Golden, the grandparents of Jody Osterwald, Carmen Gutierrez, sister of Gigi Newman, and remembered by Gigi and Michael and the entire Newman and Gutierrez families. Sophie Hyman, mother of Charles Hyman, Jerome Markowitz, the husband of Marilyn Markowitz, Susan Orville, sister of Barbara Orville, Elsa Singer, mother of Lee Newman, Natalie Spector, mother of Phyllis Horn, Geraldine Spool, mother of Barry Spool, and grandmother of Andrea Comanchero, Hannon Burton, father of Daniela Prince, and Gussie Wexler, mother-in-law of Robert Bader, blessed memory. Does anybody like to share with us the name of someone else who you are remembering today, Danny?
Lillian Ellen Schwartz.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
My mother, Jerry Saxon.
Zichronom Livracha. May the memories of all of our beloved and the righteous everywhere continue to bless us. Let's turn together to page 598 as we rise as one community to remember them all with these words. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, Yamad tivrach v'yutei yamlik malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayenu kol beit Yisrael, v'adalah v'zman kariv v'yimru amen, Yehei shmei Rabbah v'borach v'le'olam lamei amayim, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitparar v'yitnalam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal, shenei v'yishal v'richu, le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata, v'shpachata v'nechemata, v'amiran v'yalma v'yimru amen, Yehei shalom araba bin shemayim, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen, Oseh shalom v'yimramav, Uya se Amen.
Oh, such shalom be above, we are saying shalom. Alleluia, Holy Israel, reign, Amen.
Please be seated. Blessed you are tonight's FEMA officer. Announcements, Tracy Terrell. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Cantor and Yuri, for a lovely service. Torah study will be both in person and via Zoom this week, beginning at 9:15 tomorrow morning. And as Rabbi said, if you come in person, they have bagels. Good bagels. Choir rehearsal on the mark and cardio core and more will meet at their regular times this week. Sunday, November 9th at 11 a.m., Lifelong Learning will be presenting a film screening of We Will Dance Again, with discussion to follow, a documentary of surviving October 7th. Please bring your own lunch, and dessert and coffee will be served. If you cannot join in person, you can access the film on Paramount Plus and join the discussion via Zoom. Brotherhood is holding their annual Panera fundraiser on November 12th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Panera on Jericho Turnpike in Mineola. Please see the weekly update for the flyer that must be presented in order for Brotherhood to be paid and for more information. Friday, November 15th, beginning at 6 p.m., is the 7th grade family Shabbat dinner and service immediately following. We've engaged artist Jennifer Levine to work with our Temple Tikvah community throughout the year on a mural arts program to represent who we are as a liberal Jewish community. The artwork will depict 4 scenes from temple life that showcase our values. Each painting event will take place on a Sunday morning and focus on one aspect of temple life. Please join us and sign up to participate in the first session of this Paint and Prayer program taking place on November 17th. Save the date for our Thanksgiving Interfaith service on Tuesday, November 26th at 7 p.m. Brotherhood is selling tickets to a New York Islanders game on December 10th. Info is in the update. As always, please check the weekly update for additional information and, if appropriate, virtual links for all events and RSVP information for various events. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Tracy. So we will turn to our concluding song and say Hamotzi here, and then please do join us upstairs so we can break bread together and enjoy a little schmooze time. Page 634 reminds us to really appreciate this moment of Shabbat, this day of Shabbat, Yom Zeh Yisrael. This day is for us. It is a time of Shabbat, a time of rest.
Yom Zeh Yisrael, B'simcha, Shabbat, 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 Menucha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, B'simcha, Shabbat, 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 Menucha. Tzivita Pekudim B'Ma'aseh Sinai, Shabbat Pekudim B'Shorach Shaddai. Na'aruch B'Fanei, B'Zbeirach HaMuchal, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha.
Do not forget to vote. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.